Pterodactyl here, and here we are, back on the held hauler. I'm doing some improvements to it, making it a little nicer and a little better. So, after we got done filming the first installment on this thing, the headlights went out in it. And those are old seal beam motorcycle headlights, 5 3/4 diameter headlights with a low and high beam. They're almost like the old car lights. And I could find some new ones, but they were a little pricey. And again, they're old headlights. So I went on the Interscreen and I found these LED motorcycle headlights that fit in there. I think the reason the headlights took a crap is somebody had the headlights out and they didn't put them back in the buckets correctly. And they didn't fit in there very tight and they were kind of wobbling around. So I got these new LEDs and check them out. They're pretty neat. That's low. That's high. And they also have a built-in daytime running light, which is neat. And they also have built-in turn signal. So I'm going to hook up turn signals on this. See, I can do this. Instead of using these as my turn signals, they'll be built in right to these headlights. And they weren't too much money, they were like $30 a piece. Another thing, the horn was in the front here, and the horn was hooked up but it didn't work. Well, the reason it didn't work is because it was sitting in the front here, it got all full of water and stuff. So luckily it comes apart. So I took it apart and cleaned it and put it all back together, and so I relocated it up here. I had these spacers, and then I got my nutsert tool and I put a couple of nutserts in there inside the glove box. But this is their little junction box they got going on here, where they run all their hot wires to this stud. I got the seats off because I'm going to reupholster them. We're going to go over that at some point. I'm going to try to make my own. I got a sewing machine now, and I'm going to teach myself how to sew, and I'm going to reupholster these seats. And here's some other stuff we're going to do. It had these little latches on here, so you can quickly take this cover off to get at that stuff. Well, a couple of them were broken and they're plastic. They're these quarter turn, they call them corner turn screws. Well, of course you had to have a screwdriver. Just the way I got it. You had to have a screwdriver to take these off. So again, went on the Interscreen where you can find anything you want, and I found these quarter turn ones that have a little lever on them. So now I don't need a screwdriver. I can just do it myself. Don't need a tool if I want to pop this cover off. That one ain't locking in. I gotta fine tune them a little bit. Yeah, see this one? I had to cut it to make it fit here. So I'll get some of that HB 350 and that'll kind of hold it in place for me. That stuff is wonderful. All we need is a little adhesive. These are locked in there. I'll even put a little HB 350 on these, just to hold them in place. And then I'll I got 10 of them, I think. They came in a pack of 10, I only need 6. So that's that cover we're improving on. Now this key switch, it's got power to do it all the time. So I got another key switch that's got a cut key in it. Looks very similar to this one with the screw back. Because I don't like that there's power to the headlights all the time when you're not around the vehicle. So I'm going to have it to where the key has to be on in order for you to turn on the headlights and the high beams. And I can do that with this switch because it's got extra terminals on it. So I'm going to wire in this new key switch. And again, it's got a cut key. This was from Oregon. And there's a part number on there. Oregon part number. In case you're interested in this key switch. It's got a couple positions and then start. 4 positions. I put some rubber stripping and I lined, excuse me, I lined the glove box with some rubber instead of having it dancing around on that metal. And I fixed this little light, this little map light. Works now. Took that apart and fixed it. Here's another thing I'm doing. They got this sticker. Do not operate vehicle with parking brake engaged, because I'm going to fix this parking brake. Because I've been using this thing, and there was a couple of instances where I was parked on a hill, and putting it in gear wasn't going to hold it. I needed this parking brake. Well, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to go try to drive away with that parking brake on and forget it's on, and then have to reach down and knock it off. So they got a spot here that says warning light. So I already put like a little LED in there. And I thought, man, it'd be nice to have like an LED and a buzzer to let me know that the parking brake's on. So, of course, I went online and I found this switch. You know what this is? This is for semi-trucks for the air brakes. In case they lose air brake pressure. This light comes on and it buzzes. It does it all in one. So I'll take this LED out that I put in there. I'll drill this hole out a little bigger. And I'll wire this in. And then I've got this little micro switch here that I got from somewhere. I forget where. But I'm going to take this little micro switch and I'm going to wire it in over here somewhere. I'll make me a bracket so that when the parking brake's on, it'll trip this switch. This light and buzzer will go on. So when you jump in this thing to try to go and you turn the key on, this thing will start buzzing. Beep, buzzer, and light up. Oh, stupid, got parking brake on. Then there was another problem with this shifter. Kind of forget which is forward and which is reverse. That could be a problem. So again, we need a buzzer for that to know when I'm in reverse. So I remember I looked around the shop and I'm like, I know I had a backup buzzer. Sure enough, I had me one of these Sonic Alert backup buzzers from something. I forget where I got it from. It was in a box, but I remember I had it. So I made me a little bracket already and painted it. And I'm going to mount that right here, right underneath this bar. Just like in a golf cart, when you're in reverse, it's got that buzzer so you know when you're in reverse, because that's already happened. Thought I was in forward, hit the gas, started backing up. Well, you got something behind you or somebody's behind you, that could be dangerous. You could knock them down or you could run into your car, and that makes for a bad day. So again, I had a micro switch from a Toro lawn tractor. there's my mud flaps. Remember when I took it for a ride in the first part? It was kicking all that dirt on me, and a lot of y'all in the comments go, yeah, I'd make some mud flaps, Taryl. Well, I sure did. And I had some stainless steel sheet metal diamond plate. So I sheared that up, put that on there. So now I got me some mud flaps. So here's the bracket I made. So when I'm in reverse, it trips this switch. This was from a Taryl lawn tractor to let you know, I think, when the parking brake was on and that. I don't have the part number for that, but it's a little micro switch. So when you're in neutral, forward, reverse, I'll wire that up to that buzzer, and that'll say, Taryl, you're in reverse. Just on a little piece of angle iron, I rigged that up. So I'll wire that in. And another thing I did from when that dirt was kicking up on my leg, I had some stainless steel sheet metal, not the diamond plate, this is just regular stainless, and look at this. I made that. I made me a template, and now I gotta make one for the other side. So I got me some 30 brick stock, some masking tape, made me a template. I'll find it, it's around here somewhere. We got so many projects going on here at once. And one other thing I want to do is on these latches, these little barrel bolts. You know, I wasn't grabbing it. So a couple of times when I was out, this thing was flexing. So I need to make longer. So I'm going to get rid of these. And I'm going to take this piece of metal here and cut it. And I got some tubing. So cut me a piece of stock that'll fit in there, and I'll weld this piece of tube into the stock, screw it to that piece of wood. So that way it'll be that long instead of that long. It wasn't grabbing enough of this. And these popped out a couple of times when I was out riding around. These are all things you learn as you're using the thing, you know. You're prototyping it. You don't think these engineers, when they're building stuff, run into problems when they make the prototype? They run into all kind of problems, and then they fix them. And that's what I'm going to do, fix that. I put a new tail light on it. There's the tail light and brake light, because the other one was melted. I had to put a new pressure switch because the brake light pressure switch back there didn't work. I got this at Maynard's for like $6 for a trailer. It almost looks like the original one, and it fit right on the bracket. It looks good. And I'll show you where I'm going to put my turn signals in the back. Again, went on eBay and found these little trucker LEDs, marker lights. They had a pack of 30 of them. You got 10 in yellow, 10 in red, and 10 in white. And I think they were like $13 for 30 of these. So these yellow ones, I'm going to put right here in the bed. I'll wire them right on the ends. And these will be my turn signals. So these will flash. So the front will flash. And then these won't even be that noticeable until you put the turn signal on. That way they're up high and you can see them there. And that's where I went again on eBay. And I bought me one of these golf cart turn signals. Now it came with a flasher, but this isn't a LED flasher. So this isn't going to flash them LEDs, in case you didn't know that. There are different flashers. This bulb pulls a lot of power, and that's what you need to activate the flasher. So I got to get me an LED flasher, which will make it flash under low voltage. But I just got this rigged up for now to show y'all. And when I bought this thing, was real cheap too. It's pretty nice. But now I have to adapt it to the held. So let's go back over by the steering wheel there, Mr. Cameraman. Because look, the steering shaft just comes straight out of here. So this is what I came up with. I had a length of 1.5 inch EMT conduit. I had like a 10-foot piece of this 1.5 inch EMT. And I had bought a bunch of these Murray wheel bushings for some old Murray lawn tractor. I got a couple of boxes of these. See, they're the plastic wheel bushings for an old Murray riding mower. You would buy this box, and they come in a set of 4, but they don't look like that on the picture. This is what they look like. They're big plastic wheel bushings. 3/4 bore, which is the same as this. And look at that. Fits in there nice and snug. All I got to do is tap that bushing in there with a hammer. So I already figured out this angle here and I cut it. So I'm going to trim away some of this metal here and get this to slide down. And underneath this hood, there's a bracket, and I can weld this to that. And then I'll trim it off to the right length. Put that bushing in there. Now I've got something to clamp that turn signal assembly to. That'll be my little sleeve, and then I can paint this if I want. And I can clamp that turn signal thing right there. So I can flip the turn signals on and off. Instead of using the switch, see on the dash, they had a spot for the turn signals. But it was just a 3-position switch you would use. And I don't want to have to reach down there and flick it to one side and to the other side. I can use these holes for other switches if I have to. Alright, here's that template I made out of some cardboard and some 30 brick stock. That's why you got to keep that 30 brick stock around. And this is how it's going to fit in there. Once I bend it up on my sheet metal brake over there. Just like I did on this side here. And then I can use this hole and this hole. And then I drill some new holes. And then that'll help keep, when this thing backs up, that mud flap catches some of it, but it doesn't catch it all. Plus it strengthens this too. Makes it stronger than this little piece of flat stock they'd put on there. Oh, and then I also put a battery hold down, like you may have seen in some of my other videos. That I use this one that I get from Rotary. That adjustable universal battery hold down. So that's holding my battery right in a good spot. And another thing I got from Rotary is they got these universal cable kits. So this conduit for this parking brake cable is still good. It just needs an inner wire, and this is some pretty heavy duty wire. I'll get you one of them kits down here and I'll show you, and it comes with a whole bunch of different ends on it. It's basically for those BBC cables, blade brake cables on a push mower that you pull down. This is supposed to be a repair kit for it. So it's a good length of cable. I can run it through this old conduit. And then I got this end on there, which will hook into that spring here. Because it uses this band type parking brake. And then they got these little pins that hold this band on there. Come on, little guys. I think I got them in here. Shoot the camera in here, Mr. Cameraman. I threw everything in here. So I don't know if Held did that or if somebody made these. It's just a bolt that they drilled a hole in. Well, I work on those permagreen spreaders, and on those permagreen spreaders, they like to use a lot of stainless steel on everything because the fertilizer is real caustic. And they have brake bands on the transmission of a model of them spreaders. And when I would replace those cables, they would give you new pins that go in here with the holes drilled on them. So I would save the old ones because they're stainless steel. So I got a bunch of these. So I'm going to replace these. Again, I don't know if these are original Held, if that's how they did it in the factory. They just cut off a bolt and drilled a hole in it, shoved it in there. But I'm going to replace them with these stainless steel ones, so I can fix that parking brake. What else are I doing? Just a bunch of little tiny little things. Oh, there's a lot of play in the steering wheel too. So get down here, Mr. Cameraman. Let me get a flashlight. So it's got a chain drive to the steering. See that play in there? So when you're driving this thing, you can really feel that play. So this steering shaft, it's slotted right here. So I'm going to loosen up these bolts, and you can pull on that slot, and that'll take that play out of that chain. And I put that speed app, because it said this thing goes 20 miles an hour. I got that speed app on my phone, and I was out driving it. I had it up to 19 miles an hour. So that's another thing I'm going to do. I'm going to tweak that governor. I'm going to get more speed out of it. Maybe I'll even bypass the governor. Maybe I get it to go faster than 20 miles an hour. It's not good for the motor. It might throw a rod, but we ain't got no governor on that evil twin, and we've been riding that thing for years, and that's got an opposed twin on it. I like these headlights. They look pretty cool. It'll be cool when got the daytime running lights running on it. Get the turn signals hooked up. I'm going to do something with this bumper. I think I'm going to maybe bend some piece of steel or something and kind of enhance the front bumper a little bit. Yeah, it'll be nice. You'll see. You'll see. So here's one of them cable kits from Rotary that I was telling you about. See how it comes with these different ends? It's got a little Z end and these other two eyelet ends. And like I said, this cable is pretty thick. It's pretty heavy cable. So maybe you got a project you're working on where you need something like this. There's the part number. 14808. And it's not real expensive. Look, $4.95 is what I charge for it. $5. And I've used these on a lot of projects. I don't think I fixed one of them blade brake cables yet with one of these. I've used these on all my other stuff. Now you can use it too for years. I'm working on the parking brake cable right now on the held. And this is how far I am right now, so let's check it out. So there was a bad spot on the outer casing of the cable, so I put some heat shrink tubing over it, and then I think they had the cable zip tied to this bracket, and of course the zip tie broke, and that's probably why this is bad, because it probably rested on the exhaust tubing. So I fixed that, and I put a regular metal cable holder on there. And then whenever you're doing cables like this is a good time to take your spray lubricant with the straw on it and spray it inside the conduit before you stick your inner wire in, so that way you know the whole inside of this cable is lubricated. So that's what I did too. I sprayed it in from this side, and I sprayed it in from this side. I shoved that straw in there and sprayed it all full of lubricant. Then I ran my wire through there. As you can see, there's lubricant on my fingers now. So now the cable is all lubricated. I put those new pins in, those stainless steel pins, and then I ran the cable through there. And now I just got to add what they call a cable swivel. Now I get these from Stens. They come in a pack of 10. The part number is 295. Hold on, I got it. I don't want to give you the wrong part number. 295288. So I'll stick this on the end of the cable, tighten it down. I may have to adjust it a little bit, and then I'll cut off this excess cable. And now I'm also working on the steering column now. So I put this on and I marked it. So now I need to cut that material away from there. And I was trying to think, what could I use to cut that away? And then I remembered I got this tool that I bought back in '04 when I went to GIE. One of the booths was selling this tool. It's a nibbler, a sheet metal nibbler. And I thought, I haven't used that thing in a long time. I gotta pull that thing out. So we're gonna show you this tool that I bought a long time ago. I'm pretty sure they still make one. So this is that double-headed nibbler, bad dog biter. Now I haven't checked to see if they're still making these, but this is one I bought. Maybe they still make it under a different name. And it hooks into your cordless drill, or a corded drill, any drill. Here's an extra nibbler head. This is the little nibbler shaft, cutter, extra one, and they give you a tool. And then what you do is you feed your sheet metal into there, see, and that thing goes back and forth to nibble with steel. Now it's called a double-headed because this grip comes off, and there's a different type of head on this side. See, this one's like a closed head for feeding, and then this is like an open head. And it works the same way. So let's go try it on that. That'll save me some time. I forgot I got this thing. I should use this thing more often with my sheet metal projects. I'm going to try this open end first. I don't think it's nibbling too good because it's bouncing. Let me try the other side. Oh yeah, that other side much better. Oh, probably trying, because I was trying to cut through two pieces of steel. This side works better. Oh, look at that, he's nibbling away like a beaver. That'll save me some time. Alright, now I might be able to get it with the other one. We'll nibble away. I got most of it. That'll save me some time. Alright, just a little more nibbling. Maybe I should try my teeth on there. I don't think I can get in close enough because I chew right through that steel like a nibbler. Alright, now I'll clean up the rest with this long carbide burr I got. A little more. There we go. That's what I want. I want it to fit in there tight. And then I'll weld it. I'll figure out a good spot to weld it. And then I got to trim it back now. Figure out my length. Well, I got everything wired in and hooked up just like I said I was. Got my turn signals on. Got my headlights hooked up. Got all my buzzers and little doodads done. So let's go over what I did. Alright, originally I was going to change the key switch to this Oregon one with the cut key. But I didn't like this switch, this 4-position switch. Too many. There's where it belongs, in the bin with Nicky 6. So I had too many positions. I just wanted a switch I could turn on and then have power to some of my accessories. So I'm going to turn it to the first click. And now I got my daytime running lights, which will be on all the time. And now I got power to my turn signals. And then when I turn the key off, you know, it shuts the power off to that, to all that stuff. And I got my flashers, emergency flashers, all with this golf cart add-on turn signal. And I also had to wire in these lights here, which was a little tricky because I'm using LEDs, and we'll go over what I had to do there to get these to flash. So it flashes here, and then I also added one there in the original turn signal hole that the Held had. Because I know what's going to happen. I've had experience with this before. It's hard to see this light through the steering wheel. So when you're driving around, you're like an old person, like slippers, and you're driving with the turn signal on. So that's why I decided to add another LED here so I can look down and go, oh, I got the turn signal on. And it also works with the flashes. Then I changed the headlight switch to a rocker switch that also has an LED in it. So that way I know if I got the headlights on. And again, turn the key off, shuts all the power off to all that. And then here's my brights. And then on the Held, they got these little red indicators built into these, so that's when you know if the brights are on. Now these headlights are DOT approved because they're for a motorcycle. And then I said I was going to hook up my parking brake buzzer and alarm. Now I had a micro switch for here and I didn't like it. So I remember I had a bunch of parts from my brother Farrell, and there was a bin full of Aaron's parts. And this is some kind of Aaron's interlock switch. There were like 5 of these, brand new in a package. So I thought, let me use that switch. So what I simply did was just took a piece of steel tubing and welded it to this existing bracket, and then just used the hole that was in the switch. So now, if I got the parking brake on, hey dummy, you got parking brake on. So that thing buzzes and lights up. And again, if I turn the switch off, it shuts all the power off. Hey dummy, parking brake's on. And then I got my reverse buzzer, which I mounted right here. Okay, you're in reverse, backing up, backing up, backing up, backing up. And again, that's also wired to the switch. So when you got the key off, we have no power going to that. And I do have some things that have power going to them all the time. So say you're sitting in this thing, chilling out at Portland or Pontiac, and all of a sudden some guy goes by and I go, hey, I want to beep the horn. So I don't have to have the key on to beep the horn. Hey, Taryl here. And I also wired this little map light. I got power to that all the time too. So the key can be off, and I got power to the horn and this little map light. And also got power to this power port all the time. So that's why I wanted to use this kind of key switch. So I can turn some things on where the key's got to be on, and other things I want power to it all the time. And I added a mirror. I think I'm going to get another one of these and put it on the other side. I had this in a bin. I got a lot of bins with stuff in them. So I thought, I got some motorcycle mirror around here somewhere. So let me show you what I did under here. All the wiring. So here's those quarter turn. So now I don't need a tool to access this panel. Before you needed a little screwdriver to get in there. So now I can just pop this off. And here's all the wiring I did. So here's that LED flasher. And it's a 2-prong. So what I needed was a 3-prong that had a pilot on it. A P for pilot. And I couldn't find an LED flasher that had that pilot on it. I found a 3-prong LED flasher, but it had positive, negative ground, and L for the lights. So I'm like, well, how am I going to activate these lights on here when I put the turn signals on? How am I going to get that to flash? So what I did is I wired in diodes. So see this little connector here? So if you know anything about these turn signals, they have a blue wire here. See that wire is blue? And that blue wire is to power the lights on here. Your left and right and your flasher. So you got to have a 3-prong flasher that's got a P on it, and that P is for those pilot lights. So if you don't have one, what I did is I wired in two 1 amp diodes. And because a diode is like a check valve, so it only lets voltage go one way. So this is the left turn signal yellow, and this is the right turn signal green. And then to power this other green one that's on the dash, all I did was add this little add-on wire port that you can buy that just crimps onto the outside of the wire, and then you can stab a spade terminal into it. We don't want that to touch. That's got to be insulated. I didn't know that was going to fall off. So in case I ever have to change this LED, I want to be able to unplug it. Now I got to fix that because it might touch ground. And then this is the fuse. I had to wire a fuse into the turn signals. And this is that switch. This is an Aaron's switch for a lawnmower, but it's got uses a cut key. And that's what I wanted. I wanted a key that was cut, like a car. I didn't want that universal key. So I had a bunch of these Stens key switches that I just wired in. And then I made myself a little junction block out of a piece of this hard plastic. So this is all my power that's on all the time. My power port, my horn, my light, my little map light. And this is all the power that's controlled when you turn the key to the first position. I got it all wired in. Now I got some wire loom coming that I'm going to wrap around these wires to clean up this wire down here. I just haven't got it yet. So I'm going to get some wire loom and wrap it around, some split loom, and wrap it around that to tidy up those wires a little bit more. Isn't that sweet? Yeah, I like wiring. I like doing that wiring. Well, here's my new receivers that I made for these latches that are longer now, because remember I said I was having a problem with the popping out. So there's the new ones I made, painted them silver. And now we're going to look at my turn signals in the back. Those are the lights I use. Those are those little marker lights for a semi. They're LED and they're pretty bright. I got one on each side. And they're tied to the flashers. So they're up high enough where you can see them, but yet they're really not noticeable until they're on. Now another thing I'm going to do, I still haven't cut this out yet and bent it for the other side. I still got to cut and bend this yet, like I showed over there. Another thing I want to do is fix up the bed. So I went to Menards. You know my favorite Menards song. You waste your money, you waste big money when you shop Menards. And I bought some Herculiner. They have it in the auto parts section. I was in the paint section looking for this, and it's in the auto parts. They had the best price on this Maynard's. So I'm going to put some of that Herculiner back here, and I'm also going to put it on the floor here. There should be enough in that quart can. I'm going to brush it on here too. And then I'm also going to add some of that split loom to here. See how they got all these wires running right through the middle where you put your feet? So I'll put some split loom on there. Getting close. Now I got to finish the seats. So we're going to go out in my house, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing out there. I'm like a Susie homemaker out there. Wait till you see what I'm doing out there in my house. You know what else I need to add? And you can get one too. Taryl license plate. This is the motorcycle size one, which will be perfect. I just gotta make me a bracket so I can mount my Taryl Grass Rats Garage Podunk, Indiana plate right back here underneath this here tail light brake light. Well, that's it for part one on the held hauler fixing it up. Make sure you tune in for part two. So subscribe to this YouTube channel, Taryl Fixes All. I'm Taryl. Buy some of our Taryl apparel in our Taryl store, like this new shirt design. Comes with tools. Got wrenches on it. You can pull a wrench off, fix something. Follow me with your held haulers on Facebook and Instagram. If you got one of these things, I want to see it. Follow us. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Fixing up the held hauler. I got all kinds of ideas and stuff I want to do. Check it out, part two. Check it out. Check it out. Elskis, quit making noise back there. I'm trying to film. Check it out. Part two. Check it out.